mind. I wonder if we could take the young David that walked into the tent where Saul was, because Saul wanted to meet him, carrying the head of Goliath, the Philistine, the champion of Gath. And Saul sitting there looking at him going, whose son are you? Where did you come from? This kid, stone cold killer, filled with faith and trust in God. If that young David could have walked into the tent, could have walked into the cave and talked to this David, what would this David have said? What would he have said? You say, well, that's silly, Derek. We can't deal in what ifs. Yeah, but this circumstance exists today. Think about it. How many times do you have interactions with a Christian who loves the Lord, fears the Lord? I mean no disrespect when I say this, who's going through hell on earth, the hardest tribulation, the darkest valley of their life. And this could be the same person that 10, 15 years ago would have preached a sermon like the young David, filled with faith and hope, speaking life into everyone around him. Everyone around looks at him and goes, wow, there is a light for the Lord. We want to follow that. We want to be like that. And it points to God. It glorifies God. And every one of us can think of somebody that we've met where from all this adversity, all this trial and hardship, they let their light dim. They start to become more introverted. They're not going to share the gospel with everybody because they've got too many questions. They've got questions they can't answer. How could a good God let this happen to me? I've been good. I've been loyal. I've been faithful. None of this matches what God spoke. How can I speak life and hope and faith into somebody else when I'm lacking it myself? If you don't know somebody like that, maybe that's you right now. Maybe that's been you. Maybe that will be you in a few more years. Once you take a few more blows, once you go a few more rounds with the enemy. And in that moment, what would the younger Christian version of you say? You know what I mean by that, the younger Christian version. The version of you that wasn't jaded. The version of you that wasn't spiritually exhausted and tired. You know, the version of you that still believed that God was sovereign and He could do anything because He's God and He has everything under His dominion. The you that used to pray for healing. The you that used to pray over strangers because you believed that God cared, that God heard your prayers, that they made a difference. You wanted to be in the trenches. What would that version say to the version now that's covered in dust and sweat and blood? The version that's tired and just needs a break. The version that's ready to tap.